Good afternoon once again, Thistle fans, and welcome to our latest lockdown interview with our former Thistle favourite. Today I'm delighted to be joined by someone who's very topical. It's the recently retired Tomáš Černý. Thomas, welcome. How are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon. I'm very well, thank you.
Good. You and the family keeping well through all this uncertainty?
Well, it's not easy for anybody at the moment, I think, and we're just trying to just stay positive. And for me, the hardest part, I think, is just not being able to go home and see my mom and dad and my brother and the rest of the family in the Czech Republic. I think that's the tough part. And of course the homeschooling now and looking after a 1-year-old as well. So the hands are full, but it's all good. We are healthy. That's the main thing. And
good.
And hopefully there's the things will improve and we can go back to kind of normality.
We'll go back. Going to go back to the start of your career in 1 minute, but I just want to ask you before we start. You obviously hung up the gloves recently. What has the reaction been like that you've received from the footballing public?
It was unbelievable. I mean, I've never expected anything like that, and it just made me really happy. I had hundreds of messages on my phone and hundreds more on different social media platform, and all were very, very positive, very, very lovely words to hear, and very grateful that people took time and wrote those messages. And I think I read every single one of them, and it's not easy to make that decision after 20 years in football. But reading all those things, it just made me feel good and just kind of it was kind of nice to finish that way and in a very, very positive way.
Good. Right, let's go back 20 years then, or even more possibly.
That's much.
Talk about you as a future goalkeeper rather than a former goalkeeper. When did the footballing journey start for you as a youngster, and were you always set to be a goalkeeper?
Well, I started in the Czech Republic in a small town called Králíky. I started in goals when I was 5 years old, and I really loved goalkeeping from a very young age. And I also played outfield sometimes, and I enjoyed that too. And I was scoring quite a few goals, but ultimately I ended up playing in goals.
Mm-hmm. How that's quite young to be in goals. Did you what was it? Were you find out quite quickly you had an aptitude for it, or did people say goalkeepers are always that little bit different? Was it your personality that drove you to be between the sticks?
I think at that age, when you are 5, I don't think there's much of a conscious decision. It just kind of happens. I think always watched like football with my dad on telly, and I just liked goalkeepers even when I was I remember my first kind of memories of watching football was around that time, the World Cup 1990 in Italy, and watching different goalkeepers there. And I think I just enjoyed just diving about at that age. And so I started. I remember my dad brought me to a first session when I was 5. I was growing up in a small town, so there's not many boys who wanted to be goalkeepers. So I think everyone kind of welcomed there was somebody who would like to play in goals, and that's how it all started.
Yeah. So who was when you talk about watching Italia 90, who were your goalkeeping heroes at that stage? Or even maybe years later, but when you were young.
In general, I think I was. I remember Peter Schmeichel, when they won the European Championship. I think it was 92 maybe in Denmark. So for sure him and his performances then after that for Man United. Vitor Baia, I think at that stage as well. He was at Barcelona and then went back to Porto, and then slightly later on it would be Gianluigi Buffon and Iker Casillas. I thought Iker Casillas was kind of similar size to me, later on, and kind of I would say kind of similar. Can see some similarities anyway in terms of what I try to kind of emulate myself on the pitch. So I think these guys probably.
Buffon just seems to go on and on and on. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's incredible. I can really admire him for that. It's pretty amazing.
So you're 5 years old in the Czech Republic playing in goals, and you end up having a career in the west of Scotland. How the hell did that happen?
Well, I first came to Scotland in 2007 when I signed for Hamilton on loan from Sigma Olomouc, and that deal was made permanent in 2009. Obviously, back home, I played for Sigma Olomouc. I moved there when I was 15 and just joined the academy. And quite soon after, I managed to get myself into the first team. I was only 17, so when I started going on the bench as the second choice, and we played in Europe those years as well. So I remember games at Borussia Dortmund, and we played in Real Zaragoza. We played in, I think, Hamburg, and some amazing experiences to have at that age. But I only played one game. I made my debut in the top league when I was 18. It was a 0-0 draw away from home, but unfortunately I wasn't getting any other opportunities. We had a good experienced goalkeeper there.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't he played well, wasn't really getting an injury. So after 4 years in the first team, I just kind of grew a bit frustrated with the lack of opportunity. I finished my degree at the time as well, and felt I needed just do something to change the course of my career, because, as I said, I was quite frustrated. I was didn't enjoy football at that time, and I knew a friend who worked in Scotland, and he played for Loch United at the time, and that's why I decided to come to Scotland and search for a club here, and then ended up in Hamilton, and was very lucky because we won the league in my first season, and that was also the first time I had an experience with Tomáš Thistle. I remember playing against Thistle at New Douglas Park, and a 0-0 draw. Yeah, and I stayed 5 seasons with Hamilton, and I had my spells in Bulgaria and with CSKA Sofia, then in Greek Super League with Ergotelis, and then a short spell at Hibs before returning back to west of Scotland and signing for Thistle in 2015.
Yeah. We can tell you're a goalkeeper because the only games you brought up so far are 0-0. You're promoting all the clean sheets, but we'll come back to that 0-0 in a moment. But yeah, 2015. You leave Hibs and come to Firhill. How did the move come about, and what convinced you to join Thistle?
Well, I wasn't playing for Hibs. I was there only for 4 or 5 months. And I was at that age in the career. I just turned 30, and I just wanted to play regular first team football. And Alan Archibald called me, and he asked me if I would be interested in coming to Firhill in summer. And although I had a contract extension on the table from Hibs, but when Alan hinted that he would be signing me as a number 1 goalkeeper, my mind was really made up at that point. And also Thistle were in the Premiership while Hibs were still in the Championship, and I just wanted to play at the highest level possible and to play every week. So that really was an easy decision in that respect.
And you'd obviously played against the club. You probably knew some of the players. What were your first impressions when you arrived for training and joining?
Yeah, so as I said, I played a number of games against Thistle for Hamilton. I always thought, especially in the first division, I think they had probably the best fans in that league, and I like the Firhill as a stadium. My first impressions were great. I think my first involvement with the club was introducing Kingsley as a new mascot in George Square in Glasgow, and it attracted quite a good crowd and a big media attention. And yeah, all the boys in the dressing room, they were just great, and really welcomed me into the club and took me in. I knew a couple of them, but everyone, the boys who were there for years before me were very, very welcoming and made it very easy to fit in, to be honest.
What an experience with Kingsley, being your first media outing. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm signing for a big club here. There's a George Square full of people, loads of camera crews and journalists and stuff like that.
Ended up everywhere. So, you're competitive. I think you played a few friendlies. Obviously, I think the first one was against Eastleigh, but your competitive debut, if I'm not wrong, was Hamilton, wasn't it?
Yes, of course, I remember it very well. It was at the New Douglas Park against Hamilton, and it was quite an emotional afternoon for me. I played 155 games for Hamilton, and this was the first time I was stepping into the away dressing room. I remember there was still some posters with pictures of me on the walls from the past years, and I remember Big Freddy was sent off after 20 minutes, and we managed to keep a clean sheet with a very young defense with Jack Henley and Liam Lindsay playing in front of me. I think I made a couple of good saves, and we managed to keep a clean sheet. And again, I'll be talking about a 0-0 game.
I know, yeah, it had to be, but a great way to start your career. And yeah, to talk about Jack and Liam in particular, you must have had a positive influence on them as a more, you were in your 30s and they were right at the start of their career, but they've obviously gone on to very good things so far, and you must take a bit of pride in the role you've played in that.
Well, I would like to think, I was able to offer a little bit of that experience and pass it on to them. And my style of goalkeeping is always, there's a lot of talking, a lot of communication with the defenders, and try to give them the right information at the right time, and just help them out in their job. And I think especially for the young players, that's an important. And also I've never been a type of goalkeeper who would be kind of shouting and criticizing my defenders. I usually took the blame on myself and would be more, kind of trying to encourage them and just try my best to support them. And I think they both done pretty well. And Big Liam, it was brilliant, especially the second season. Yeah, so very pleased for them.
Yeah, you clearly worked, because that first season finished 9th, so a solid performance there. We're actually the 5th best defence in the whole of the top flight, so the defensive unit clearly was working very well. You played 30 plus games. You must have been happy at that stage of your career. How it
No, I was very happy with my first season at the club. I won the Player of the Year award, which was voted for by the fans, and I was immensely grateful for that. It was a great honor. And we had a good defense. We had Freddie France and Liam Lindsay playing mostly as centre backs. Big Abdul kind of in that defensive role as well, helping out. And I think we kept quite a good number of clean sheets. And although the table was quite tight, and for most of the season we were not far off the kind of relegation playoff spot, we ended up missing on the top 6 finish by I think at 1 point, or just a goal difference. So we're unlucky in that respect, because we could have sneaked into the top 6 eventually, but it wasn't to be. But still, overall, I would say a solid first season.
Absolutely. So, any highlights for you? I think the game down at Kilmarnock sticks in a lot of fans' minds when we won 5-2. But yeah, a really good season. I think one thing Thistle fans learned from you was you had a lovely ability late in the game just to take your time when you were taking a goal kick and eat up some minutes. Is that fair that you're partly remembered for that? Or I guess the proximity of the fans to you is maybe part of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was just late in the game. Sometimes I would be time wasting a couple of minutes into the game. No, but I think it's a part of being a goalkeeper. You have the ability to to speed things up or slow things down depending on the result. And I like to think that I've mastered that skill over many years.
Yeah. All goalkeepers do it. You just happen to do it a bit better than most. So the following season, clearly, the following season, big season for Thistle, top 6. How proud were you? As you said, we weren't far away the season before, but we got there the following year. How proud were you as a group of players to achieve that?
No, I was immensely proud of that achievement, and it will be up there with my biggest, team achievements, in my career, probably alongside with winning the first division with Hamilton, and then the bronze medal from the under 19th European Championship with the Czech Republic. And I felt big Liam Lindsay had an amazing season that year and fully deserved his move down south. And I think we just really clicked as a team, and we were able to put together good runs of results. And as you said, the solid defense was a big part of it, but also Dulce was in a great form, and he scored so many important goals in that season as well.
And penalty saves would come into it as well. Do you still remember the one at Celtic Park?
No, of course, it was a fantastic night. I remember Celtic just won the league, so the place was bouncing. They were having a big party, and we managed to spoil it a little bit. And also the point was important to to push us a little bit closer towards the top 6. So I think it's the only time I got anything against the Old Firm away from home. So it was a memorable night, and of course saving a penalty made it that bit more special for me.
Yeah. Talk us through that then. Goalkeepers always, we're led to believe you prepare for all the kind of possible penalty situations, especially in cup ties when there might be a shootout. But how much of it comes down to preparation and homework, and how much of it was instinct? What was it that night that helped you save it?
I think it was down to the preparation. I think down to the work that Kenny Arthur was doing for me. You would always have clips of the penalty takers from the opposition team, and we would watch them on the bus or in the dressing room just before the game. And I saw Scott Sinclair just I think it was 3 days before that game, he scored a good penalty at Hearts, and he put it to the top corner, to the side. He was, hitting it against me at Celtic, and I just thought I need to go a bit early and have to try to get as high as possible, and I might not get away with that save today, because I did take that step a bit early and went towards the ball. And although I think the ball was quite well hit, that step forward and being kind of positive and aggressive allowed me to save the ball. So I think it was very much down to the preparation and then just a timing of making that save.
Amazing. And give us an insight. We as fans, when that sort of thing happens and we get a big result and there's been a big moment like that, you're genuinely buzzing for the rest of the night, and you're thinking about it and replaying it in your head. For you actually in it, is that something that when you get home that night you're thinking of over and over again, or is it just doing your job?
No, 100%. It's something you do think again, and then it's like things like that don't happen very often. And like in general, every game you play at that level, I think there's a lot of adrenaline going through your body. It's just quite emotionally charged events. I think although the players, sometimes you look quite calm and you look composed, but there's a lot of things that are going through your mind and through your head. So if things go well, the feelings are very, very amazing. And if you have a night like that, it's hard to go to sleep. I think it was a night game, so you come home maybe 11 o'clock and you'll be lucky to fall asleep around 3 or 4. And you go down to training next morning. So that's a part of it.
Just like the fans then. Brilliant. Great. Yeah, talking of the fans, by this time you've developed a really, really good relationship with Thistle fans that exists to this day and will always be there. Especially those behind the goal in the John Lambie stand at Firhill.
Mm-hmm.
You had a great relationship with them. They always, got behind you. What message would you have for the Thistle fans that backed you throughout your 3 years at the club?
Well, I said that many times. The relationship with the fans I had at Firhill was very special, and I think it always worked the way that for the second half of the game I would go towards that John Lambie stand, and the fans are quite close to the pitch, and so I used to love the cheer and the chants coming onto the pitch in the second half. And let's be honest, you don't win games for Partick Thistle in the Premiership every week, so when that happens, I think there's a lot of joy, and I always wanted to share that joy and happiness with the fans. And so all I can say is it's a massive thank you, because they were just really amazing with me, very supportive of me, and I'll just cherish those brief moments of joy after the winning performance for the rest of my life.
I'm sure all the Thistle fans watching this will, offer those sentiments back to you, and a big thanks for all the good times you gave us, and good to hear that the support behind that goal and all the young team are making all that noise. It does make a difference to the players, and it can help you. So
no, it's amazing. Yeah, I think if you think even if the crowd wasn't brilliant, for certain games you would still have that core support behind goals, and they would always make themselves heard, and yeah, it's that's why you play the football. I think I think football this year without fans, it's not the same. It's just it is just kind of a bit it's more of just a job now, I think. But I think if you have those fans at the stadium, you as well as for yourself, you do it for them, and when you see how happy it or miserable sometimes, but mainly how happy it can make them feel, that gives you definitely that extra motivation and also enjoyment and playing the game.
Here. Season 2017-18, not a season that ended the way we all wanted it to, but overall you accumulated more than 100 appearances in the 3 seasons, and you were a real favourite of the fans. So when I guess looking back at that season and overall, how do you rate your time at Firhill? Clearly the time at New Douglas Park was special to you, but 3 years at Thistle gave you a lot of good memories. How do you sum it all up?
Well, yes, of course, the last season was a very, very tough one to take, but overall the positive experience and memories are really overwhelmingly outweighed the bad ones, and I made many friends, and I still regularly keep in touch with my former teammates and people from around the club. Until today, and will do for in the future. So I would also say that arguably, those 3 years at Firhill, or especially those first 2, were arguably, probably one of the best in my whole career. So yeah, I'll always be very, very glad that I signed for the club and had that some really good times there.
Yeah, and we'll focus on a positive from that season, because again the penalty saves, like a big game against Dundee, we're 1-0 down, I think, save a penalty and it totally flips the game and we go on and win it. It just showed you that that one moment can make such a difference, and that was a real highlight of that season. More homework from Kenny, I guess.
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, I think that game was quite, crazy in the respect that, the Dundee were probably a better team, had many chances, and then the penalty save. There was a couple more saves, and then the save from Musa in the second half when he's just putting the ball into really open net, and somehow I managed to stick my hand out and stayed out, and then we scored kind of 2 late goals and scored the last minute winner. It was definitely a highlight of that season for me.
Mm-hmm. And I know there's been other interviews with the Jags cast, and then the media recently following your retirement. What would you say was your favourite save for Thistle? I guess because there's plenty of them.
Yeah, I think probably the best one I made probably was the header from a free kick against Motherwell, and that last game, and we secured top 6. The ball was kind of almost behind me, and just managed to get it up, and the reaction from the fans behind her was fantastic. And then, so I really enjoyed that one, because I thought at that point I kind of thought, yeah, we're gonna make this, and we're gonna finish top 6. And then, yeah, of course, the penalty save again at Celtic, that save from Musa, and I remember that there was a good save against Dundee United. The first season was slightly deflected shot, and I just managed to get a top hand to it. Yeah, so those will be probably the ones I can think
collection. Of. Yeah, we've only scratched the surface there as well. But I guess the point with the one that helped us get top 6 is it's not just an amazing save, but it means so much. It actually helps the club achieve something. So
100%, yeah, it was in a 1-0 win, and that game, we made that final step, and yeah, so that made that save even more special.
Brilliant. So yeah, clearly the news recently, life after Thistle and now retirement. You've got a brilliant career to look back on. What happens for you next?
Well, first of all, just I think I have no regrets over ending my career just now. I think more what I think about it, it was the right decision. I think I'm obviously injured still, and my plan was to retire in summer, because I got onto this postgraduate teaching diploma to become a PE teacher, and I already deferred it once, and I wouldn't be allowed to defer again. So, and it was quite tough to get that spot. I think it was like 400 people going for it, and only 16 spots available. So I just really didn't want to lose that spot. So I kind of made my decision at the start of the season that I'll be retiring in summer 21, and go on to the next chapter, becoming a PE teacher. So
amazing. Where is that going to be, Thomas?
I will be down in Ayr. It will be University West of Scotland, within the placement and school taking place up here in Aberdeen, and also going to stay involved in coaching, and will be helping to develop the young keepers up here in Aberdeen Academy. So yeah, 2 exciting kind of projects for the future.
Brilliant. So when fans can come back in, we can get people back to Maryhill. You're not too far away. We can get you back for a half-time appearance and see your old friends.
Yeah, I'll be going. Yeah, especially next year, I'll be going up and down the road, and so hopefully I'll maybe, especially if there's a midweek game or something like that, yeah, it would be perfect to come and see the game at Maryhill again. Yeah, hopefully fans will be back, and yeah, if you need me to join in for a commentary or whatever.
We'll get you behind the goal singing, Thomas.
Nobody wants to hear it.
One other, just before we come to the toughest question of the lot, but one other thing to talk about is obviously the European Championships this summer. Quite tasty fixtures to look forward to. We don't know if fans are going to get in, but Scotland v the Czech Republic. How do you rate that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing game for me personally, because I have really most of the last 14 years I left in Scotland, and I've got a few guys I know on the Scotland's team as well. But I'm from the Czech Republic, and that's where I grew up. So it's always a tough one for me to decide. But I think it's a very open game, in my opinion, because Scotland will be at home. They'll be very excited, about the prospect of playing at the European Championships after such a long time. And yeah, I think I really hope the fans will be allowed, and it could be a real celebration of football, and I think Scotland really deserves it, and it's amazing to have these games at Hampden, and I'm just desperate to get a ticket if I can.
Your best route might be to come out of retirement and get in the squad, Thomas, to be honest. But again, we've got a penalty save to thank for that, haven't we, with David Marshall saving the penalty for Scotland. So again, it shows the value of a good goalkeeper.
100%. Yeah, I think Marsden did brilliantly in that, the whole campaign, but in that game in particular, made an important save in the extra time, and then the penalty. Right. Yeah, that shows you that the goalkeeper can be, the difference between winning and losing, or achieving a big success or not. So, yeah,
absolutely. Right, Thomas. Let's put you to the test here. I'm going to ask you to name your strongest Thistle 11 from your 3 seasons at the club. This is always quite a tough one because you're going to have to pick one friend over another in certain positions. But over to you. See how you get on.
Yeah, it's not an easy one. But I would probably put myself in goals.
Quite right.
And then left back, it would be Callum Booth. In the middle of defence, Freddie France with Liam Lindsay.
Yep.
I would have Christy Elliott as a right back.
Okay.
In midfield, I would have Abdul Osman. I would have Stuart Mannigan and Ryan Edwards. And up top, it will be, of course, Chris Doolan, Chris Erskine, and Stephen Lawless.
Excellent. Great team. Absolutely first class. What you've obviously kept in touch with a lot of these, the boys. It's not been too long, to be fair, since you left the club, so it's the passing of time hasn't been great, but you're still in touch with all the guys, yeah.
Quite a few of them regularly, like Callum Booth and Freddie France, of course, Chris Doolan. We've just been talking to him quite a lot, and sometimes follow Chris Erskine and Stuart Bannigan as well. So yeah, there's quite a few boys I kept in touch with. Ryan Edwards as well. So I think we had good. That core of the team was very good, some nice guys, and we got on well, and I think that just helped us to achieve that top 6 finish. I think the chemistry of the team was good that season, I think, and maybe slightly changed the following year, but yeah.
Good. I think just to focus on a couple of names there, because we've talked about the centre of defence, but you've got two full-backs there who were always very comfortable taking the ball and very good at getting high up the pitch as well. That must have been a dream to work with them.
100%, both of them just driving forward, really just very just happy to run all day, really up and down the pitch. I think both Bude and Christy just really, were very, very fit guys who would kind of run all day. So it just helps the team in attacking sense, yeah, very, very good. Abdul give us that bit of a protection, and maybe would help win some headers and stuff like that. And then Banzo, I love Banzo as a player, like a really, really good player. Unlucky just getting that injury against Hearts at the time he did. I think it really kind of slowed his progress down, and he could have been somewhere else, but he's still a very, very good player and really nice guy. Same for Ryan Edwards, and the boys up front, obviously Chris, just a natural goal scorer, and Chris Erskine, very good tricky player, and the same Stephen Lawless, very, very good with the ball at his feet and able to go 1v1 with the defender, and good left foot finish. Both, well, actually all of them.
Yeah, left foot up front. Yeah, left feet. Good, brilliant. That's a great team. A great way to end. I know you've got to go and do a collection shortly. So this is very much live in the homeschooling environment. So we're all working, tiptoeing around other commitments. So I really appreciate you taking your time out today, Thomas. Over half an hour of brilliant chat that the Thistle fans will love. And yeah, I'll let you finish off.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you very much for that. And again, I think just the last thing maybe I would say is I think that there's been a few kind of question marks, about the way I left Thistle. And I think one thing I need to say is that I was really down at that time. I have to admit I was depressed. I really struggled, and not many people would understand what was going on inside me. And I almost felt it would have been unfair to stay there. And because at the time I had to make the decision whether I would stay or go, I just felt I had nothing in me. I had nothing to offer, and almost had to take time out. And then I spent, kind of next almost 3 months away from football completely. I'm not trained. I've not done anything football wise. And yeah, that's when the Aberdeen offer came, out of blue, and I signed for them the night before the Europa League game at Vittoria against Burnley. So I was leaving, Thistle with very, very heavy heart. And if I felt normal, I would have stayed. But at that time, at that point, I just wasn't right. So it certainly wasn't for money, and certainly wasn't for anything like that. It was just the way I felt at the time. And as I said, I have very, very happy memories from most of the time, and just that last wee bit at the end was difficult for me personally. But always be grateful to be part of that amazing club, and I wish the club and I wish the fans, very, very best for the future, and I hope I will be at Maryhill at some point and be able to cheer on the team.
Brilliant, Thomas. I think first and foremost, just to say we're delighted that you're obviously feeling a lot better since that moment in time a few years ago, and obviously going on to finish your career in a positive, and you've got an exciting career ahead of you now. So all Thistle fans will wish you the very, very best. And I think the reaction you've had from Thistle fans when you retired just says everything about how they feel about you and think about you. And I'm sure when we finally get back to welcoming you to Maryhill, you'll hear that for yourself, and you get a huge cheer. So thank you for your honesty today and your insight. It's been fascinating to learn a wee bit more about life as a goalkeeper, and most of all hear about how much you enjoyed playing at Maryhill.
No, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and all the best.